Boom shakalaka.
Nothing in.
What's that, bud?
I got nothing.
You got nothing? All that money for an iPhone doesn't work. You know why iPhones are so expensive? That's how much money that Apple's got to pay the engineers to keep up with Samsung. Yeah, I got some. What up, everybody?
13 people.
Let me grab one more thing. You got your seat, you got your water. This has got plenty of battery in it. This is going to be kind of a long show. Now, hey, it never fails ever since I've been doing these videos, just solo. 5 or 10 minutes in it, somebody messages or tries to call me through Facebook phone, or my freaking mom calls me. Okay, it's just like I'll be like, "Mom, it's 5:15. I have a show at 6 o'clock, so I'll call you after I'm done with the show." Okay, 6:10. Ring. I'm like, gosh darn it. My mom's got a lot going on with the dogs, and you got. Did you find it?
Yeah, I'm on here, but it's really delayed right now.
Is it? It always is. Where's my koozie? Can you give me my koozie, please? Thank you. My Lake County, Northern California, little personal one-man jacuzzi here for my Canada Dry. Womp. How many people we got on?
24.
Yeah, so let me hang on to that one then, because you got real.
Yeah. It's a little. It's
delayed, but good. What's up, Tony Cortez, Adam, Sean South, Scott Eckhart, Adam. We're getting some people on here. Mike Haas, Roy Offenbacher, Roy, I built a new car. It was for Emma, but it turned out to be my backup car. I might let her run the grudge race Friday night in Vegas with it. She breaks it. This is Roy Offenbacher's. Tell your kid it'll be at Vegas for you. So, what's up, everybody? Victor. I wonder if we get Mark Vine or Tyler or anybody on here tonight.
I saw Tyler.
Oh, Tyler's on here. What's up, Tyler? You know, I ever since I've been reaching out to Tyler, the dude always gets back to me. He gets right back to me, and he's always super pleasant. Sometimes there's some mundane questions, but the King of the Streets thing it's been being promoted for so long that there's so much information out there that trying to find one little thing sometimes when I'm just like, okay, oh, you know what? I better check the rules. And I go on like, oh my God, I can't find it. So every now and then I got to ask him a question. If Tyler is watching, I want to know if there will be a piece of carpet in the burnout box at Vegas supplied by you guys so that everybody uses the same carpet. I think that, I mean, I don't know how much they're going to be teching tires and stuff since, sauce is allowed, but seems like if everybody walks up with their own carpet, that's probably not a good idea. That thing's going to fold in on you, doggy. If everybody's using their own carpet, I don't know. I know that I'm doing carpet burnouts now, and I want to know if I should bring a piece. Actually, Tim Smith, I asked him this question today, but he was testing, and he said, you know what, if there isn't any, you can use mine, brother. And I'm like, no, that's really nice of him. So thank you, Tim. So I just kind of want to, that's one thing I don't think I've ever seen anything of. And I'm sure the carpet burnout is allowed by Tyler, but I want to know the actual specifics. Is it his piece of carpet and everybody can use it because it's in the burnout box? Or do you walk up with your own piece of carpet and put it in the burnout box and then leave it there? And if so, does the carpet get inspected? I mean, I don't want to like nitpick something like that, but I just want to know personally for myself because I want my personal race schedule when I get to Vegas. I want Tyler to look at my car and tech and go, "Yep, it's cool. Here you go." I want me abiding by every single rule that he's put forth for his race to be followed to such an extent by my personal racing schedule that he's just like, wow, didn't have any problems with Dan, didn't have any problems with shark bodies. So it's important, rules, these guys over here on the East Coast run something that these guys over here in the West Coast don't, and then, maybe down in the Dust Belt in the Midwest, somebody will have something like that's kind of a cross in between, but this is his race, if it's somebody else's race, we go by their rules, and that's just kind of the way it works. So I want to welcome everybody to episode 6 of Shark Frenzy. Tonight we're going to be mounting a Shark Mustang body to give there's a bunch of new people that are buying shark bodies, and some even without shark bodies, but they just this is the one we're going to be mounting, and this is actually going to be a backup body for the Corleone. This thing feels like, is this 060? No, it's not. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be taking this and completely mounting it, truing it, cutting it, getting it ready. That like I get it ready just before paint. I don't know if some people, I think so. Back when I was building roll cages, you better make sure that you've triple checked your weld list and the customer's build list when you build a real race car, because if you put together a $150,000 race car and it's all done and taken back apart and sent to the powder coaters or to the paint shop, and then when it gets back there's something else that needed to be welded in it, you got to grind into that new paint and stuff. So I like to get my bodies, I kind of, use the same kind of ideology when it comes to an RC car too. I want this thing totally drilled, cut, mounted. The only thing I won't drill, which doesn't matter because it's really easy, is the spoiler holes to hold the spoiler on when I'm all done. But for the most part, we're going to make this less paint and spoiler look just like this tonight, and then I will shoot it later on in the week. And if lightning strikes me in the third round and I make it that far, and this body goes poof, and it flies apart in flames, then I have another body to go with. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. I want to give some big shout outs tonight. I was kind of disappointed. I made I made a post that I had an announcement, something that I was saving for tonight's show, which is obviously my DE sponsor, and a bunch of guys jumped in and harped on me for the R1 stuff, and everybody needs to know that the stuff that R1 put out a couple weeks ago, that wasn't me saying that. It was not in my announcement. However, I run R1, I stand by R1's decision, so I shared that post, and I guess a lot of people that saw me share that post thought that meant that was me saying that on R1's behalf, and it was not. So and when I said that there's big things coming from R1 this summer, that didn't have anything to do with them coming out and talking about warranties on drag race speed controls. It had nothing to do. It's that I know that there's more products in store for R1, and I'm excited about it. So please read between the lines, guys, when you see a post like that. But I'm officially letting everybody know, if you don't know, that on Monday of this week, I got picked up by DE Tires. I'm running nothing but DE now. I've been around the block a couple times, you could say, and I really, truly, in my heart, believe that the DE combo that I'm using is what it's going to take to win Vegas. So I want to give a huge shout out to Dave Enstrom, the owner of DE Racing. Dave's just a really nice guy, reached out to me. And I also want to give a big shout out to Chris Vieira of DE Tires. Chris has kind of been in the drag side of it, and Dave, the owner's over here doing his normal day-to-day, and Chris finally said, hey, Dave, there's this guy that, if we can bring him on, let's bring him on. And they reached out to me and gave me a really good offer, and I'm proud to say that I represent and run nothing but DE products. So thank you, Dave Enstrom and Chris Vieira of DE. I want to give a big shout out to Paul Peterson of Shark RC Bodies. Paul's probably not going to be on here tonight because he's out racing. Dirt Oval tonight in, I don't know, Bumchuck, Wisconsin somewhere. So wherever they can get away from the snow. I'm assuming that it's an indoor off-road track or indoor oval track.
You would think.
And I think that's what they're running because I know he's got 4 feet of snow there. Paul Peterson, among others of my sponsors, will be on hand with a shark booth in Vegas. And I think Paul is kind of had it up to here with the snow this year. Being added stress on top of the company growing so quickly because we are just, I mean, even from a month or two ago, we're getting so big. It's really catching on. It's going to be a good mental cleansing for him to get out of the snow and cold weather for a while and come down to Vegas. As to where us Californians in Vegas and Arizonians and stuff, that it's 60, 69 degrees and we're like, man, it's freaking freezing. This guy's in -17. So
it's a little windy today.
I think the coldest weather I've been in is like 22, but like 1. Or -3, that's cold. That's like you spit and it freezes before it hits the ground.
You're not talking wind chill factor, you're talking actual temperature.
Yeah, totally. So, big shout out to Paul Peterson. I want to give a huge shout out, as always, to my boy Mark Vine with the Bullet Experience. If you're looking to build a no prep car and you want something right from the get go that's just an absolute animal, that's on the cutting edge of technology of what people are doing in any area with no prep cars, go over to the Bullet Experience, read up on it, look around a little bit. These chassis are available on eBay on Mark Vine Bullet. And I want to give a huge shout out to Milo Carvalho of Flashpacks. Got me this shirt for Vegas. It'll be one of the many shirts that I probably change into and out of during the day. Because I was like thinking, how do you do that? You got so many sponsors, unless you spend hundreds of dollars on shirts that all have which is probably what I should do. But I got so much money into Vegas already, man. I'm like, So
yeah,
I think that
how many hats can you wear at one time?
I don't know. I mean, I can. Boom. You know what I'm saying? I'm repping R1. So it can happen. You will see me probably Clark Kent it into the phone booth a couple times during Las Vegas. There are some rumors that there has been a shark suit purchased. And I even said that as team leader, win, lose, or draw, that if somebody comes to the race with a legitimate, like nice, not too hot shark suit, that I'll wear it during the race. So... I'll be the shark on the line. It'll be kind of hard seeing through the mouth, you know what I'm saying? But maybe I'll race without the helmet on or whatever. But whatever. I want to give a huge shout out to Steve Villanueva of R1, always trying to come up with cutting edge technology before it's available to a lot of other people. And in R1 Products, I stand behind them. I love the guy, love the company, and that's just where I'm at. So if you choose to go with something else, as always, you're free white and over 21, and you can get whatever you like. So a big shout out this week to Rocky Carlson up in Washington. Rocky sent me. He had this hat made for me, and it was a hat for the Washington No Prep guys, and Dan and all the Team Reckless guys, and I just. I've been dealing with Washington for like 2 years, dude, and right from the get-go, the first guy that helped me was the guy that helped me figure out all the software that ran my dyno, my chassis dyno.
Okay,
and he spent hours on the phone, and we got it perfect, and we're doing rips at 2 a.m. And ever since then, I met a bunch of other Washington no prep guys, and these guys are just stand-up guys. So I just want to say thank you, Rocky. This will be worn. It'll be taken care of. It'll be worn with pride. So I want to give a shout out to all the men and women in law enforcement. God bless America. And let's get into the show tonight. So if you want to pan around a little bit, Rich, we got a couple shark bodies up here. We got the Corleone here. It doesn't have any rear wheels, and it's sitting under a stand in the back, so it looks kind of funky. But when it's on the ground, she sits just about like that. So she is she's gonna be a good contender, I think. And at the end of the day, I think we all in our hearts want to win. You good?
Yeah, there we go.
We all want to win Vegas, but what my main things is I'm bringing my daughter out there. We're going on a road trip together to go to this magnificent race, and it's going to be an experience. It's going to be a journey. And I want her to have fun first and foremost, and I want to have fun, and I want everybody else there to have fun. And even if I don't win, I want to at least put a good show on for my daughter and for my sponsors, and go, Dan didn't win the race, but man, he made it to round 8, dude. That thing was rolling out. He was a heavy hitter here at this race. So, and if I can get that out of it, then I'm happy. So. This car is working extremely well. I have 2 local, some of the fastest guys I know around where I'm at, come out and test with me, and both of their jaws dropped. I mean, the car just, it flat out works, Yeah, and that all goes back to a lot of work I've been doing with Mark Vine and stuff like that. So I also want to give one last shout out before we get into this. I gotta grab something. So, I use a couple different sets of wheelie bars. Well, 2 different companies. There's a lot of good wheelie bars out there, you guys. I'm not a big fan of the STRC aluminum stuff. I think it works. The only thing I don't like about aluminum is the same reason why I don't use aluminum suspension arms and stuff. Is because once they bend, you don't know they're bent if they don't break, and it can throw a car off. And I don't know. Aluminum. Every now and then you tag a curb, and I feel like I'd have to buy a stack of them. So, and granted, carbon fiber G10, it's gonna break too. It breaks. But I know that I'd rather choose a product that's a little bit weaker, and that when it does get hit, it breaks, and I know to change it rather than having something bent and tweaked. So, a big shout out to Troy Stacy of Vanishing Point. It's the bars I use on the back of the Corleone. Super high tech bars. It's on a suspension system, and that's what I'll always use on my Bullet and in my losi setup here. However, I do have my backup car now is a rear motor car, and it's a very fast, very accurate backup car, and it has a standard length RCRI bar on it. RCRI, Steve Negri makes great products, but I wanted something a little bit longer, and I actually went by, I was at work, and my mom stopped by Jake's Performance Hobbies in Rohnert Park, California, 707-586-3375. You got it up there? Okay. I picked these up from Jake, and these are available. These are beautiful carbon fiber. They're long bars. And I have something else in store for the Corleone. Me and Mark Vine are working on. But as far as oh geez, well, that one's probably no good anymore. As far as my rear motor car, thank you, Jake.
They're durable.
They're very durable. They're available at Jake's. They're actually his wheelie bar. And this is what I'll be running on my rear motor car. It's a nice product. I mean, Jake knows what he's doing. He's been making chassis since the early 90s. So these will get replaced for the longer bars, and we'll maybe raffle these off to a kid or something, or give it to somebody that doesn't have bars. But I just wanted everybody to check these bars out, and you can see what I'm going here for. So there's a standard bar. And this is how much longer the new bar is. And what that's going to do, it's not going to really be much of an advantage chassis or car-wise, but what it's going to do, it's going to tame a hit out a little bit. That's all it's going to do. It's not going to be much, but the longer bar will help. And that's kind of what I wanted for this. And before I even had a chance to look around, I reached out to Jake because I know he's selling bars, and he hit the nail on the head with these. So thanks, Jake. So let's get rid of some stuff here. You want to take the SLWT off the table. We can take this.
How many kids are watching?
I don't know.
40?
40 kids?
40 kids.
Awesome. You just swore in front of 40 children, okay? No, I didn't say a swear word. They do slip out, though. So, I also, before we get into this, I want to remind everybody that I have a YouTube channel. It started out as just kind of like me and my daughter before I even started these new shows. And she likes to watch like some of these other little girls that are really famous, internet famous, and she wanted to do it herself one day. So we made her own YouTube channel, and that has kind of dwarfed into Judd's RC Motorsports as well. So now we share the page. She has her videos. I have one of her videos just murdered everything I've done.
Really?
I mean, just murdered it by like 300 views. I'm like, you're killing me, kid. But anyway. So please go on over, like and subscribe our new YouTube page. It's Funky Monkey Judd. So Funky Monkey Judd is what you type into YouTube, and it'll come up, and you'll notice this ugly guy right here. And subscribe to us. We're trying to get enough. So I'd like to eventually go live from YouTube, because any likes or any kind of things that happen with the videos on Facebook, it kind of stays on Facebook when you transfer it over to YouTube. So. Let's move this one too. This is Rich's car. It's a rear motor car, and she is just we've been working on it for the last couple of weeks, and she's a bad you know what. So
yeah, she moves pretty good.
Yeah, she moves pretty good. So here you go. Beautiful car. You can put it anywhere on the kitchen counter or whatever. So I think that
I'm gonna change this tripod up to there, so I can move it around a lot easier. It's too hard.
Okay. Hand me the granite first, though, because I'm going to use that. It's heavy.
So to you viewers watching, sorry about the interruption.
Let's take the black off too. Let's get rid of the matte. Justin Holt, if you're watching, you're a stud. I nailed this thing out of the park for me. All right, let's get some stuff in here. That can go there, and it's coming back. I don't know. Well, the garage just got a free wheel. That's crazy. It's just gone. All right, anyway. So... let's get the rest of this out of here, and we're going to be working on a dirty table, but I think it's going to be the color white or cream or whatever that the table is going to be better to see on camera than with a black background. So,
it's a white body though, yeah, I disagree.
This is true, but it'll probably be different with the lights. Lights. Okay, so a couple things you're gonna need. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of different ways to do bodies, and if you have a different way, or you don't like my way, or whatever, that's okay. This is the way I do it. You guys got to remember, some stuff might not be as polished that I do, but I'm about function before form. So yeah, I want my car to look good and look sweet, but I want it to work the best first. So I will take function of how it's functioning over form, what it looks like. So, fortunately for me, I got some good looking shark bodies, and with a little bit of spray paint, a little bit of elbow grease, you too can mount one of these. So the first thing I need to do is, before I make any marks for my holes or anything like that, we need to get the body down to height. Now remember, this is the golden rule with Lexan. Take off a little bit at a time, because if you take off too much, you can't get it back, but you can always keep taking little increments off, okay? You're going to see me dive right into this thing with a regular pair of scissors, and the reason why is because I've done 80 of these things, and I know exactly where I want mine cut and stuff like that, and where to start from. So what I'm going to do, where's the pink card? We're going to need the pink card back here in a minute. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I don't run the backs, and you can run the back. I leave about a ½ inch coming down the sides that turns into a ½ inch over the back, or underneath the back deck lid, and then a ½ inch down, and then my quarter panel starts. So I bring it over and down and then wrap around and down like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a rough cut below where I know I'm going to cut it, just to get rid of this piece. So let's so a couple. And they're, you know, at first, before you cut them out, they're big bodies, so it is really thick back here.
Good job, Paul.
Yeah, it's bulletproof. Oh, bulletproof. So, you see, I've just done a rough cut. Now, I know it looks really ugly, but I'm going to be cutting clear up into here later with a fine cut. So we'll get to that later. The next thing I want to do is I want to take what I call the skirting off. I want to get rid of this. So I'm going to start up probably about a 1/2 inch off the bottom, and I'm going to cut this all the way around the front, making it as straight as I can. I have some really nice fiskars here. What I do is tape. Scissors accumulate, you know, just because of the kind of office supplies and stuff they're used for. Over time, we'll get gum and glue on them, and it won't cut the Lexan or something as thick as the Lexan is good anymore. So before I start a new body, not only do I wash my hands, but I also, whenever a body's not painted and I have to work with it until it's painted, I wash my hands every time I go and do something, and then come back to the project. I wash my hands. So. I also take a little squirt of brake clean. Remember, don't get brake clean anywhere near Lexan. It'll crack like a broken mirror right before your eyes. But I take a little bit on a rag and I clean all the blades down so that I have a nice, good working set of scissors. So what I'm going to do, actually I'm going to stand up. And again, this is just a down low rough cut. Just to get rid of that skirting.
You want just the body off this thing?
Yeah. Because at times I'm going to need the body for measurement. And I'm going to show these guys and gals how to do one when you don't have something you're copying. But basically, the measurements and marks I'll be putting on this body are to exactly mimic that one, because that one's already been engineered and I know it works, and this is just supposed to be an exact duplicate should something happen to that. So I almost got the skirting off the body. So now, if you're a rear motor car where you got a big shock tower in the front, you're not going to be taking much more off of this. I mean, you'll probably cut it down to probably about there. So it's about 3.5 inches of total body in the front. I'm using this is for my bullet car. My bullet car is super low profile, so I'll be able to, pancake the body. I'll be able to cut this thing down to 2¼ inches or so, so it's just a pancake moving through the air. So we'll get to that first. The first thing, let me take the body off and give me the car, and let's just spin some. Let's spin some of these on it, just loosely to get the thing up in the air. DE tires. Available at DE Tires or DE Racing. The washer's got to stay on. It goes on before the wheel. Okay. Let me align them. There we go. Oh, yeah, don't force it down. Okay. This is garbage. I mean, you want to make a foot scoop or something out of it. Cool. So these wheels are really, really loose. So let me just get a nut driver real quick. So this is what I've cut off the body other than the back. Just the flat skirting. Okay? So we're going to ditch that. And let's tighten up these wheels. I usually do most of the work with no battery in the car because I know I'm mounting the body and everything, everything you're going to see me do here in a minute is going to happen in the exact location it needs to happen in, but it's going to leave a long skirt to the body. And then eventually when I get the body more dialed in and we do more work to the body, eventually for a final cut on the bottom, we'll set a battery in it and actually get it down to ride height and for a final cut. But it's always good to leave a little bit of weight out of it just so that you can, have a little bit longer on the sides and do a finer cut when you're closer to that. So let's take all these off because I'm going to be relying on shadows here. Paul is working with the Lexan manufacturer, trying to obtain Lexan that has a clear film on it rather than the fogged one. Some guys didn't like that. I'm a master fabricator by trade, so it doesn't really bother me much. And there's ways around it. So let's put this on the car. So I'm touching in the rear, but I'm not in the front. Now before I make any changes here, I go any further, I want to say I always start from the front. We're always going to be working from the front of the car back. And the reason why is if you always try and look at the rear wheels of the car and think you put them where you want them, by the time you drill holes and you come up to the front, you go, oh man, the body's shooting way too far forward, and now the wheel wells are back here and it just looks funky. Rule of thumb for me, see how funky that looks with the wheels? Can you see it in there? See how far back they are? But if you look at the back of the body, it almost looks like where they need to be. Okay? So what I do is I always, aerodynamically wise, I always shove my bodies as far back as possible. I want to make sure that my front wheel is clear of obstructions like the hood sloping down. And I really want to make the front look good because with a shark body, you can see you have pretty much a blank canvas here. So, if the rear wheel hole was shifted a little bit one way, it wouldn't look funky as it would in the front if you had, a bunch of bodies sticking out like that. I mean, that just looks horrible, and I see people do that, and I want to try and eliminate people from doing that.
Slide it to the side, I can see exactly where the tire's at.
Yeah, so right there, I mean, I've seen people do that before. Now you got a third of the body sticking up in front of the car's center line, or axle center line of the front wheel.
I've tried it on two bodies and it doesn't work.
What we're going to do is I'm going to shove this thing all the way against it. You notice I have a foam bumper on this car. I'm going to shove it all the way back. And basically what I want to do is you see where the hard curve starts right here in the body? I want to know that my wheel is going to be able to access all of that room in there. And if I go too far forward, then I'm going to have to run the car high or the body high because I don't want the wheel to scrub the Lexan. That'll slow the car. It will actually act like a disc brake. So as you can see, this car, you just kind of look, and you got to look at everything, and you want to really make sure that front wheel well is proportioned right, and you don't have too much of the body sticking forward like that. So as you can you see the wheel right there where it's at?
Yeah.
And if you notice that wheel location looks pretty darn good. Okay, so once we get where we want the center line of the wheels to be, let's see if I can get some more light on this thing now. We're going to do a centering job. And we're going to center it. And all I'm doing right now is just a half-ass center because I want to know that this line that I make on the body, that depicts forward and backward is all set off of where those front body mounts are. So I know that right there and right there, and if you look at both sides now, you'll see that with that hood, the vent in the hood scoop, they're very, very close to being exact, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some light on this thing where the wheels are, and if you put the camera over, you can look straight down the body. Look straight down here. You can see the wheel in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to really... Now I look at the back a little bit, because if the thing's way off in the back, then you'll have holes that are at 2 different points in the body. So I'm going to kind of center the whole thing, including the back. I'm going to pull it back so it meets my marks. So I got my forward and backward locked in. And now I'm going to center the front of the body. Now this is, you also want to make sure that the wheels in the car are straight, because if they're off and you're looking through the body, it'll turn out funky. So my back's pretty centered, my front's on the lines. Now I'm going to center my wheels, and that's pretty good right there. Now wait a minute. Okay, so now I'm going to blow those holes out real quick, okay? And that's going to give us a starting point for the rest of the body, and after you get that perfect, it really should flow. So let me, now the first thing I'm going to do before I blow holes in the body is you guys get a cheap Dremel. Maybe you can find one at like a garage sale or something. Hold on a minute. Let's get some of this put away. And the reason why is when you get a drill bit going into Lexan, it will just grab and force its way through, and it'll knurl and bend the Lexan. You don't want to use drill bits. If you're putting a little 1/8" hole in the back for like a spoiler, then a drill bit's okay. But anything bigger than that, and you want to use a Dremel, because a Dremel, a V'd out Dremel sanding wheel like this one, see how it's a V or cone? Well, that means that I can make a variable size hole, okay? So I'm going to look, before I make those holes, I'm going to look at the diameter, because if I go really big on both of them, then the body will move around, it'll never be center. So I want to make sure that I'm only doing the size of those holes.
Can't turn it sideways.
Just pause it?
Well, kind of, yeah.
Okay. I think whatever position you started in is where it has to stay.
Oh, really?
So I'm looking at those, and I could put a good 1/4" hole in this and be fine. So what I'm going to do, whoa, that's not good. All right, so. There we go. Now I'm going to come in the back, and you see that little nipple it made in there? I'm going to carefully feed this, and not only is it going to open the hole up the rest of the way from to match the front, but it's also going to deburr it. Watch this. See it just deburred it? Okay, so you see those holes. Now granted, I've done this on a lot of bodies, so be careful with this thing. It's really easy to sink the bit right through the Lexan, so go really, really light-handed. Remember, you can always go back and do more and test it and more and test it and more and test it. But this should... Okay, now see, I can't go down anymore because my car's low and I still have a really long skirt on it. So what we're going to do is now we're going to do a second cut. Before we get into the back, I got to know that the front of that body is locked onto the car, and I can't do that because the body's sticking up much further past where the car wants it to sit. So let's take another I don't know, let's take a bunch of Lexan off of this thing. No, I don't want to cut that way. I want to cut this way. Actually, you know what? Off of that cut, because that cut was perfect. That cut was 4 inches perfectly. Now I can go over here and measure this, and it goes to 3. Now granted, these measurements are for my body because I know which one. I know exactly. Okay, so I'm going to start at 4 and taper it down to 3. Now you can run a line down this if it's easier for you, but again, I've done so many of these. I'm going to get quite a bit off, so you're going to see me cut a big chunk out of the front. Don't just go to work on your shark body and do that. You got to assess if your body even sits that low in your car, because if not, then you're going to have a car that looks like it's 2 inches off the ground because you cut too much off. I know majority of the guys that are watching this, you know, they do their bodies like me, and I mean, maybe not like me, but I mean, they do them themselves, and they've been doing a bunch of them. This is again for the newcomer that doesn't know how to do this. You know, some people just don't know how to do this. You know, and that's okay. That's how you learn. Okay, so I've cut more off the bottom. Look at that. We got body mounts through it. Okay, where's all my clips at? Here we go. So let me lock the front end in. I just put some clips on it so that you can't... I can't see nothing. I need to put my glasses on. I hope what I'm saying is getting out there in a good manner that people can understand it, because I mean, I'm just kind of saying what's going through my mind when I'm doing this, and maybe, you know, if anybody's got any questions, I don't know if Rich can relay them or not.
Everybody's watching.
Okay. Now I'm going to come in here in the back, and I'm going to center the back. As you can see, the back moves around because my front ones will flex. But I know that I've already set these front to back and left to right so that they're damn near perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab 2 body lines. I'm going to say look at the back window lines and the back C-pillar lines here. And I can see with my flashlights going in right where my body mounts are hitting. So I'm going to kind of give it an eyeball. Okay. And we'll flip these around. Then I'm going to measure into my tire. About 1 1/4. Right about 1 1/4. So I'm right about on the money. I'm going to call that good right there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make and that, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to take this back off. Now I might take this off and put it back on. This is a slow process, and the more you take your time and the more attention to detail that you put into a body, the nicer it's going to turn out. You know, I'm not going to slam one of these together in 5 minutes. It's going to look like it, you know, was done by the monkeys from Wizard of Oz, you know. So, let's take this back off.
What's that supposed to mean, Dan?
Huh?
What's that supposed to mean?
What's that?
The monkeys from the Wizard of Oz?
Well, because they probably just messed it up. They're monkeys. Remember, I've already assessed the diameter of mine. So, as you can tell, the way I use the Dremel, it gets rid of most burrs, but you're always going to have a little bit left over on the inside and on the outside, okay? So for that, what you're going to have to get is a body reamer, okay? Now you got to be careful, you don't push on this, you just twirl it really gently and let it do its work. If you push on it, it will dig and sink right through the body and you'll ruin the body. So, as I do it, watch. So I'm going to just drop it in there. And I'm just going to move it around. I don't know, can you see that burr right there?
Yeah.
See the burr? It gets all the burrs out. Almost dug in right there. We'll deburr it.
Do you like saying that word?
Deburr?
Yeah. Burr.
Yeah. Burr.
Burr.
Okay, so now we are going to. Oh, where's the. Yeah, let me just stop and put my glasses on because I'm freaking blind, dude. Where are they? They're right there under the camera. So as you can see now, I have a body that has been trued left and right and set front to rear. And now I'm ready to make some more adjustments to the height and start the wheel wells. So I actually, this is okay for me. I run my bodies kind of wedged and kind of high right here. I don't want them too low to the ground because if you're too low, then they kind of act like a bubble. And I want to let air come out of here. So I can tell you right now, I'm going to have to take a good ½ inch off the front. When the car's loaded, it'll probably sit like that. So, you know, it's just a rough cut for right now. But around the front definitely needs to come down. So let's do that. And once we cut the front down more, we will put a battery in it and load the car with weight. And then we'll make markings for our wheel wells. Okay, I got a lot to cut off of this one.
Got this thing went higher than that. That's
Huh?
cool.
What you talking about, Willis?
I thought the tripod went a little higher than that. But I was
So let me go.
I was mistaken.
Let me grab a battery pack out of the old battery pack holder. And we'll stick some weight in it. As you can see, the front end goes down a little bit more. Oh. And then we'll grab some of this. Really? That's not good. This is not what I keep my batteries in with. This is just for mock-up purposes. We're going to put this weight in the front. We're just going to put some tape over it just so it doesn't shift around. So let's get this back on. As you can see, that front end is pretty dialed in right there. Granted, I've done a lot of these and I'm actually copying something. So it is a little bit easier in that aspect, but if you use the rule of thumb of looking at your front wheel wells, getting the body shifted front to back, right, making that line where the body mounts are, using the flashlights because of the fogged film, then you get your left to right. And once you get those two intersecting lines, front to rear and left to right, then you can make your mounts for your holes, or your marks for your holes. Once you make your marks, make your holes. Don't make them too big. Take your time with that. A right size hole is perfect. And if you make it too small, obviously the body won't fit. But if you make it too big, the body will move around, and you don't want that because then you're not center anymore. Once that's dialed in and you got pins on it, we came to the back. We centered out the rear of the car. We double checked it with a point to point that's exactly the same on both sides. And it turned out I was right on the money. So I marked and made those holes. And you can tell back here, I almost made these holes a little too big. You see how it wiggles back and forth? You don't want to do that. Well, it's not so imperative. It's not so imperative in the rear. It is in the front. And my front's nice and snug, so I'm okay. As you can see, the body doesn't move at all in the front. So let's put these back on. Now what do we got? We got a car that's been shifted front and back. We got it left and right, perfectly front and back. And it is damn near cut to the height that it's going to be. It'll have a final cut on the sides, but the front, I mean, I'll run a car like that. I mean, if you get down here and look at the front, I mean, she's just... Remember, my car is going to lift when it launches. So you don't want a body that's so low that when you hit your brakes, it scrapes on the ground, because what that can do at 70 miles an hour is it can throw your car into a wicked spin or something like that. So make sure you have a little room for the Holy Ghost there. And let's put these guys back on. And then we're going to do the fun part, which is another fun part about the shark body, because it doesn't have a pre-designated wheel well. It's a blank canvas again, as you will. Okay. So, where's my pen? So I'm going to come down here. Sometimes I'll even do that. I don't know if you can see the wheel there. Can you see the wheel? Can you get right down here where I'm looking?
That's hard because I don't want to angle it too much. There we go. That's good.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So what I like to do is I don't like the front of the front wheel well to be even with the outside of the tire. I like to grab it on the inside of the tire where the tire meets the rim. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of follow that line up.
I'll get close in on it when you're done. And
then once I come towards the top, I make a transition out towards the outside of the tire for the rear. So you got.
I'm going around the other side.
You got to quit moving the table. Okay. And this, you don't have to make a perfect line. And then I'm going to come straight down with it. And I'll show you why later, because I make my tuck in right there. And if you had a big scallop in it like this, and you tucked it in at, whatever angle, that scallop right there could cause what we call in like on-road racing. You saw it today when you came up to the track, was a body tuck. You get a body that grabs a tire that grabs a body, and it sucks it in and it stays in because it's the wheel's moving this way and it's grabbed it and it's forcing it up. Well, now you have a brake locked on, basically. So I have gone right where the rim meets the tire. And I have, like I said, this line doesn't have to be perfect. The scissors are going to be what makes it perfect. And I never claimed to be an artist, so. But as you can get in there and see, okay, let me see this, come in real close. As you can see, I have the line meeting where the rubber meets the rim, and then right about here it starts transitioning out and ends. It meets the outside of the tire right around this area, and then it follows that and goes straight down, okay? Now in the rear, so you can't do that with the rear because the rear. And granted, this whole flashlight thing with the fogged film, you know, we get it, dude. It happens to be what the polycarbonate manufacturers over in Wisconsin use. So, same thing here. I want the body to travel in front of the tire, just for aerodynamic reasons. So
which way helps better? More light or less light?
That's fine right there. Let's make a shadow. There we go. And then I'm going to start transitioning out. And you can play with it, you know. You can change it. Maybe you want one that comes up like that, like Rich's or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's you know, on some of my bodies, I'll come up like this at an angle around the tire and then go straight over the top and then back down at an angle like that. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's kind of a blank canvas. You can kind of do whatever you want. So the tire ends right there. Now the cool part about this, let's add a little bit more top to this. I know I suck, huh? Yeah, I like that. So you see how I got two scribbly lines right here? I know I like the top one, so I'm always going to go boom. Okay? Now, before I cut those out, I'm going to get some measurements. This one is 1 inch down. So 1 inch down. This one is 5/8. So 5/8 of an inch. Okay. Now, what I can do is I can come to the back of the body here. Now what we're doing is we're setting up for the other side to be the same. So I'm going to put that right on the back. And I see that this wheel well starts at 6 inches from the back. And then this one, the straight down, let's say, well, because the front is more important than the back is. So it's 19. So, well, let's go over here. 19 inches. So, now I can come over here. On this side. Goddamn carpet.
Why don't you just turn it around and then...
Because I don't want to do that yet. So, here's 6 inches. And there's something off the back there. And 19. Okay, well that can't be right. I must have mismeasured over there because it's 7 and 20 over here, which is an extra inch on everything. But anyway, you're gonna see where those measurements come out. I really don't need to do this, but it's Jesus Christ. Anything else you want to knock over here?
Proved to be tough, though.
Just give it, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take this off. I'm gonna cut my wheel wells out. I like the shape that I picked. I like the location. So now these scribbly lines, as long as you know what line you're following, like this right here, how it's kind of jagged up and down, this will make that a nice cut. So what we're going to do is there's one. And granted, it's just rough for now, and I'll have to go back and make it perfect. This one is straight. And then it gets into the curve. Now, granted, I'll have to come back and clean those up and stuff. Well, let's see what that looks like when we put it on. Now, granted, when this is all done, this is going to have one of my folds in like that. So as you can see, if you notice, I'm covering the front half of the tire, and then I open up to the outside of the tire. I'm covering the front half of the tire, and then I'm opening up to the back of the tire. That's how I do mine for air. For aero, I want my air to go past my tire. So what we can do is take these two pieces that we just cut out, and we have templates. And it's not, granted, this is probably not where we're going to end up. You know, I'll go over it with like either a rounded file to smooth it all down when it's cut to where I want it, or with a Dremel and a barrel grinder, and just smooth it out so there's no straight or jagged edges. So let's pick the car up now and flip it around. Now I know that, oh, my lights. Okay. I know that my front one, so here's my center line of my wheel, and the center line of my wheel. What did I have over there? 5/8 and an inch.
I'd measure it again.
I did. With my eye. So keeping on the center line, there's my 1 inch. Okay. And then on the center line, there's my 5/8. So I know that when I position these, that's where they're going to go up to. Remember, we need to make sure that we're front and back and up and down perfectly to use these as stencils. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line off the back of the tire straight down, because I can see the wheel. Okay. Then this is what got cut out on the other side. I'm not going to flip it. I'm just going to bring it over to the other side and mirror image it. So I can hold it against that line and right at the 5/8. And boom, there it is. Okay, and if you notice, it's doing the same thing as the other side is. It's covering the front half of the wheel. It's transitioning out to the outside of the wheel. Okay, we'll do the same thing in the rear. So that was on the other side of the rear. And for that, we ended there's the outside of the tire. So now I have my stopping point for my stencil, and I have the height of my template, and the height of my template. So it was on the other side. We're going to bring it straight over. We're going to lift it up. Obviously, this side of the body looks a little bit longer than the other one. Let me go double check something. Always double check your work too, guys, because like I said, once you cut something, that's it. She gone. So just a small portion there. Okay. Okay. Well, make sure your template doesn't move either. Well, that looks like exactly where I want it. So I'm going to cut that, and that should be a damn near match of the other side. So we have created wheel wells on one side. We've taken certain measures for height and forward and back, and then transferred those measurements to the other side so that they'll be as close as possible. And that's how I do it. If somebody's got something, you know, a different way to do it or something, then you know, that's okay too. So now I'm going to cut those out. And if when you cut them out, you know, your first, you know, there's a little out of round or something, well, that just takes a little bit of finesse, and I can look through the body and just tell that it's right on the money. So there we go. Now remember, if you plan on making these folds in the front here or folds anywhere in the body, always make your folds after you've painted it. Granted, there are some paints out there that you can bend the body and it won't hurt anything before it's painted, and then paint it with those paints. A lot of guys that are watching this, a lot of guys that do this, they don't use airbrushes. So when you bend Lexan, not shark bodies, all Lexan, polycarbonate period. When you bend it, and you don't need any heat or anything, I've gone over, I made a video about this. This is what I use to bend it. I'll make sure how I want it is perfect, and I just kind of put a bend in it, and it works fine. When you do that, it makes cracks in the Lexan that are visible to the naked eye. So you won't even know they're there. And as soon as you paint it with a spray can, the chemicals that are in the can seep into those microscopic cracks and break the Lexan, because the Lexan, once you bend it, is no longer sealed. So if you paint it first and it's already got the paint on it, and then you bend it, then it doesn't matter what it does microscopically to the Lexan, because it's already painted. You're not adding that chemical to it. So always make your, unless you know what I'm talking about and you're using water-based paints or something like that with an airbrush, if you guys are grabbing rattle cans from your hobby shops, make sure that you paint before you make the bends. Do the bends last, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my 1/2 inch here all the way down. I'm going to make a nice curve right here, maybe clean it up with the Dremel, and then come straight down for like maybe 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to come out here. And where I come out here is going to be the 2 points from there to there that I make my quarter panel, okay? And then when you get done, all these little corners, you want to go around them, and you want to round them, because that, you know, it can cut you like a knife. I mean, I just got cut tonight from Lexan. That's from one of these sharp edges. So it can eat you up. So other than that, you know, maybe next week we'll take a fresh body that's all been done, and we'll put together a shark wing on it or something. You know what I'm saying? This is, you know, especially the new guys, like, man, I got all this time and money into this car, and now I get this body like this, and I got to mount it and cut it and drill it and paint it. It's a lot of work. And I tell that to people. My buddies come over and they look at my shop, the guys that don't race RC cars. And actually, my buddy Johnny Gutierrez was over here Tuesday night. and he pulls out one of my bodies, and he goes, wow, man, this is how you guys sell these? And I said, no. This is how we sell them. And he goes, oh crap, that must take a lot of work. And I said, yeah, Johnny, it does. It takes a couple hours to get one perfect. So by the time you're done, you're going to have all kinds of, look, there's marks and all. And I did that for, for the viewers, just so you can see how I'm measuring stuff like that. And you're going to throw this on this car. And this thing, okay, now, hold on. After you're done painting it, and it's all, well, after you're done trimming it, everything's deburred, everything's rounded, then you're ready for paint. Then you mask your windows, do whatever paint scheme you're going to want, that's up to you. And then when it's all done, it's been drilled, it's been mounted, it's been painted, it's ready to go, except for it doesn't have a spoiler. As you can see that it's starting to take shape. And you can see how badass that's going to look when it's all done. And that's it. That's a shark body. So, if there's any questions out there, I know I'm kind of flying through this. Some parts of it are a little bit hard to put into words just because I've been doing it for so long, and it's just kind of second nature to me. I'm hoping that some of what I did here tonight maybe helped out maybe one of the new guys out there. Because it can be a little daunting. It's a big project. Building one of these cars is a big project. So, let's see what we got here. What's up, Uli? Christian? Chris Silva? What's up, Chris Silva? Why did I change my mind about running the zero for Vegas? I'm not 100%. I have more zero bodies that are painted that nobody knows about. I have more bodies than that are Mustangs that nobody knows about. I have my practice bodies, the yellow one that people saw. When I made the transition back to the Boss, everybody knows me, knows I'm Ford to the bone, I'm a patriot, I love an American-made product. And all of these are American-made products, but it is a Toyota Camry. It's a zero. And that wasn't the pushing factor. That was the one bad thing that walking away from the Boss that I kind of missed. It's a Ford Mustang. It's what I did for 22 years out at the track. But when I started testing the Camry, it had a little bit too much downforce in the front end of the car for me. Behind the radar gun. So the reason why I went to start testing, and the bosses there, the boss that you guys have seen on my cars, this one, the pink one. I also have a body for Vegas and a Camry with a backup body already done. And so that when I make my decision, I'm ready to go no matter what avenue I take. But I was trying to use the blunt nose of this to get rid of some downforce in the front, and I think that after going to the DE skinny tires that I've lost enough traction in the rear from making the car darty that I can probably have no problem going back to the Camry. So the Camry is more aerodynamic. There's a lot more downforce on the body. There's a lot of downforce on this one too. So it's all, we're going to log some data, tomorrow, or we're going to go out Monday?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So we're going to go out and log some more data tomorrow. And I think we'll do a body change out there.
I think you found your tire niche. I think you got your...
Yeah.
I need to figure mine out.
Oh, it's because you haven't tried the DEs yet.
Yeah. To be continued.
Bought a set of DEs, gave them to Rich. Rich is going to run a first set of DEs tomorrow and see how they work. I think that it's what you're looking for. Again, nobody's got the perfect tire yet. I know of some things that all I can say that DE is working on right now that I'm hopefully, I'm gratefully going to be partially a part of in the research and development as far as what they do on the street and giving feedback to the company at a later date. But for right now, between the belteds that have crappy rubber and a great belting process, or a tire that is really, really, really bitey, but it is so soft that once you hit 60 or 70,000 RPM, it just balloons like crazy and the car is really unstable. I think that the tires from DE are the happy medium, whether you're running the Phenoms or the Outlaws or whatever it is. These tires are thicker, so not only do you have a tire that's going to last longer, and be more consistent because it's thicker, and hold more heat when you put your heat wraps on it. But it also doesn't balloon nearly as much as some of the stuff I used to run, like the Panthers and stuff like that. So that's kind of why I did it. What's up, Milo? Mike, Sean South, Rick Turner. What's up, Rick? Rick's one of our boys. Rick's actually going to be, him and Richard be on my crew in Vegas. Helping keeping the car going and the car ready to rock for the next round. This just in. So
what's the difference?
The difference between the Phenom and the Outlaw. Okay, now both tires can be bought in different compounds. What are these? Okay, what are these things? Both tires, if you want to move it back over here.
Oh. So you're pretty good right there where you're at.
So your Phenom is a standard tire width. There's some other companies out there that are playing with making the tires narrower and stuff, and I just don't think that's the answer. I think that and I don't think going super wider is the answer either. I think putting the correct maybe possible belting process, or in this case rubber compound, the right stuff together. But the difference between the Outlaw and the Phenom is, as you can see, the Outlaw is a 2.2 2.2, as to where this is a 2.2 3.0 on the bead. As you can see, the front of the wheel is a lot smaller than the back of the wheel. The back of the wheel is bigger. Now, the front of it being smaller gives for more scale looks. It looks better on the car, as to where the back bigger side is actually better for performance. So the two kind of work together in making that happen and being able to achieve the performance that you need out of the tire. Other than that, the Outlaw, if you can see, is a little bit wider than a standard SCT. So these Outlaws is what we're pushing at DE as far as drag right now. Did I glue something to this tire? No. And I gotta say, these work pretty good. I got a couple sets of them, and I've made a couple passes on them, and I got some other compounds, I'll say, some no names that we'll be logging some data on, but these are really promising tires. One of the reasons I think or a couple of the reasons that I went with DE and I took the sponsorship was not only the fact they're a smaller mom and pop, caring kind of company, but they're being really innovative. Okay, well, we've made this and it's better than that, but now let's see if we can even out ourselves even one more or up ourselves one more and make something even better now. And that's the kind of company I want to be with. Is somebody that's constantly evolving and trying to keep up with the times. So and as far as a tire company, you just can't ask for any more than DE. So as you can see, I'm full DE. You'll probably notice that the rear wheels are, the actual rims are not DE. They haven't come in the mail. I had to put some together, so I took some other wheels that I had to put them together for testing tomorrow. But other than that, I mean, I'm just sold. All my cars are going to have DEs from now on, and it's just what I'm running. So, good tires. Good
Somebody asked if you like the Gamblers, if you use them.
The Gambler wheels?
Yep.
Yeah, the Gambler wheels are awesome wheels. I even got, here's another thing. Now, granted, this is something that carries over from Dirt Oval, and for Dirt Oval it's to keep dirt out of it, but for drag racing where aerodynamics coming into play at a high mile per hour, it does kind of it works as a second thing, and what I'm talking about is the mud plugs for these wheels. So as you can see, these wheels, the company So now you have no air that'll get into that deep dish, and the air will just kind of bounce by. So that's really cool. And they make that for this size wheel, and then also their SCT size wheel. So super, super cool. And they look badass when they're on there too, and they got the discs. I'd like to get Dave and Krista make some discs for the front, so I can have full discs all the way around. And I don't know, maybe they do. I'm new to DE. I'm still learning all the products. DE has a lot of stuff on the market, and then you just kind of unsnap them when you want them off. So, really cool product, really innovative. Have a good night, Daniel. Braden Taylor, Rick Turner, Brandon Small. There's so many people. So we also hit another milestone this week. That's enough looking at my car.
They got all your secrets now.
That's okay, because
you're gonna watch it back and pause it on your car.
You don't know what's inside. you can't buy the motors, and you can't use your mental telepathy for my tune. So, yeah. We hit another milestone. Judd's RC Motorsports has been live on Facebook for about a month and a half, about 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks, and we just hit 1,500 people mark or follower mark. So I'll be raffling off something this week to a lucky winner in the lower 48 for the support you guys give me on the page. I've had a really, really positive time. It's a lot between my daughter and my road racing and my drag racing and my job to keep up with it all the time. But I do see everything. So, if I don't comment on something, or you think that maybe I didn't see something, chances are I saw it. I got eyes all over that. So, what were you doing?
I see everything.
What happened to the comments? Oh no, that's not what I want.
I don't have no clue.
Okay, well, I'm ready to take these off. I hope you guys got some valuable advice, some valuable information out of this video. I'll be uploading it to my YouTube channel. Remember to go over, like, and subscribe, Funky Monkey Judd, and keep following me for more tips and tricks.
Somebody said they were taking screenshots.
Whatever.
At their car.
I knew you would. I knew you would. We also got a new thing. I went out testing with these guys about a week ago, and we had one of these GNSs, and we were having problems with it. It was bouncing off satellites funny and stuff. So I was thinking, what can we do? Want to hand me that over there? So a lot of you know that I'm in law enforcement.
Oh. Yes.
And I just happened to be in one of my sergeant's offices this week, and he had a box of these that they were getting rid of, and I said, well, let me check this out. So what this is a Pro Laser 3 LiDAR, and this is really, really accurate equipment for mile per hour. So I'll be bringing this to Vegas just to see what the comps are running. It's really, really cool. It's all laser guided. It's got the sight here with all the digital read up inside there that glows red, and it has the crosshairs to where you're pointing it. And the difference between radar and LiDAR is laser guided, and as to where at 1,000 yards a radar will pick up a 30-foot beam or cone of a beam, a LiDAR
it has to go and bounce back.
Correct. But where the LiDAR works is the final beam that it's taking its information from. Well, when you get whatever you're trying to get mile per hour out of, and you have it in the crosshairs, it's accurate at 1,000 yards within 3 feet.
Oh, wow.
So anything within 3 feet of those crosshairs, and it's picking up. So next time you're speeding down the freeway and you try to give a cop, he's got you on LiDAR locked in,
1,000 yards,
and you try and tell him, it was the other guy that blew by me, he's going to say bullcrap because this thing isn't wide enough when I saw you to...
Well, it's 3 feet at 1,000 yards. So even closer, it's
correct.
Smaller.
It's even smaller, yeah. So if he's got you in the crosshairs on one of these, you can guarantee that he's got you lock, stock, and barrel. So we'll be playing with that. And I can't see... I don't know how to use your Apple phone to get the comments back. So... I will be uploading this to the YouTube page. Thank you to Mark Vine and Paul Peterson and Dan Enstrom and Chris Vieira and Milo Carvalho and Steve Villanueva and just everybody that's helped me put this year together. It's going to be a big year. I've been putting 100% of my test and tuning into preparation for Vegas. And after Vegas comes and goes, win, lose, or draw, I'll be aiming the Corleone down the lanes of some local racetracks. So
Jasmine was asking about changing the zero, not using the zero.
The zero, we're going to go do some more testing tomorrow. The only reason why I got rid of the zero is because it is more aerodynamic than the Boss. And I thought that that's what was making my car, if my car went off a little bit, I'd just give it a little tiny input and the input would go whomp and it would go that way hard. So I had way too much traction or downforce in the front. And after we changed from a standard drag car front wheel to the really, really skinny DE wheels, these guys here, the accelerators. Okay. So once I went down to these, I think I could run any body I wanted on it now. I could run an SCT wheel-based block of cheese body and have all the downforce on the front wheels, and it wouldn't hurt. So I think the Camry, you're going to see very, 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 very good results at Vegas with the Camry. And I still might show up and run one. You never can tell at this point. Is that what he's going to run? Is he twisting with my mind? You really think he's going to give up that kind of information right before a $25,000 race? You decide. So
that was the time for a mic drop.
Yeah. So, I've always been, helpful in this and that. There's a lot of tech I want to share with the world, but I just can't do it right now, just because of what's on the line in Vegas. And hopefully we can go out there and do some spanking. Okay, that didn't sound right either. Anyway, I think that
that's what your rear motor car's for.
What's up, Josh Nicholson? He's a good cat that reaches out to me all the time. Jessie Hernandez is Jasmine's daughter. Jessie Hernandez is Jasmine's father, not her daughter. Jasmine is. It's been a pleasure having her on the Shark team. She'll be in Vegas. I know my daughter's excited to meet her. My daughter's going to have her diva shirt on to show her that she's a diva. And we got a lot of good people in the Shark team. Remember, Shark RC Bodies. You can contact Paul Peterman or go to Shark RC Bodies, Facebook or .com. Shark. I think that's it for the show, guys. So I hope you enjoyed, episode 6. If anybody, is just getting into this and they have some more questions about or want some extra tips past what we did tonight or whatever, feel free to reach out to me through Facebook. I'd like to remind everybody that, I'm in California, so I'm Pacific Standard Time. I've had a bunch of people start contacting me at 3:30 in the morning or try and Facebook call me at 2:45 in the morning when I'm supposed to be dead asleep because I got to be on duty at 6 o'clock. So try and keep it within a working man's hours, guys. Please. It's just sometimes it's too much. Thanks for watching. Thanks for following Judd's RC Motorsports. And go over to the YouTube page, Funky Monkey Judd, and like and subscribe. Thanks. See you next week.